Like there's no way.
Oh, no more curse words.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and how do I move this? This meeting is being recorded. It's all up in the top. I don't like it. Anyways, my name's Amaal. I started doing commercial. So sorry, guys. Yeah, how do I? It's throwing me off. There we go.
We love you.
I don't need to see. Okay. All right, guys, this is my commercial 101 lesson for today. I do have someone at the end around 11 o'clock or so going to be joining us, hopefully, to kind of explain some programs that I think are very beneficial when it comes to doing commercial real estate, especially if you're listing or if you're going to be looking for leases or purchases for your clients. But let's go ahead and dive a little bit deeper. This is a little bit about me. I started my real estate journey in 2021. My intentions were definitely to try the residential side of things and then quickly realized that I was more of a commercial agent. My first deal in my real estate journey was a commercial lease. I helped a friend get into a bridal shop that she really wanted, and she's been successful ever since. So I'm very happy when it comes to vetting my clients and making sure that they are in a area that they really like. And commercial is the way that I did that. I just find it a little bit more interesting. It is a little bit more tedious, a lot more time to go in between getting your payouts. It's not 30 days and I get my check like a regular residential deal would be, but this lesson is to kind of help you guys kind of get a little bit more comfortable with understanding commercial. There are not a lot of agents that are willing to help teach you. And I think a lot of it is just kind of learning the lingo of real estate, commercial real estate. And it's almost as similar to residential. It's just different terminology. So the first term that we're going to use is owner user. Jeffrey, do you know what an owner user would be? No? Okay, so an owner user is someone that basically is going to purchase the building to put their business in. So it's almost similar to like a residential client coming to purchase their primary residence. So this wouldn't be like an investment property or nothing. They can't have another tenant using like a separate side of the building. So DD, actually it was so funny when I first started hearing the term DD, I was like, okay, you know, thinking about it when I was going out with my friends, like who's going to be the DD for tonight? And I was just kind of curious. This old man kept using it. Well, the DD and this DD, and I was kind of confused on what it was. So eventually I had to look it up. So the DD is basically the due diligence period. What that is basically the commercial verbiage for inspection period. It is not uncommon for you to find a due diligence period that's going to last anywhere between 6 to 9 months. Now, the only problem with these deals is that a lot of the time you're having money going in. So you need to be very cautious when you're doing this with your clients because you might have a $25,000 initiation for the contract. And then after the first 30 days, you have another deposit of $25,000. And then after another 30 days, you'll have another $25,000 deposit. Some of this money will go hard. So your due diligence period is for you to do all your homework, researching the property, understanding what it was used prior, seeing if there's any type of sinkholes. You know, you can potentially lose out on a lot of money for your clients. So your due diligence period is basically you having your inspection period. Now these, like I said, it's not uncommon to see it anywhere between 6 and 9 months, but it is your time to do the extra work. Even if you know your client is looking at a property, I would try to do the due diligence prior to even being under contract, because the less time you have to be in due diligence, the quicker you're going to get paid. Okay, anybody have a question on that? So if someone asks a question in the chat, will you let me know? Okay. So our next one is LOI. Do you know what LOI is? I think I've talked to you about it before.
Is it
Yes, it is. So the letter of intent, it is very important. There are a lot of templates online that you can get, or you can try to make one your own. I was lucky enough to be partnered up with someone. He helped me make one. The letter of intent is basically a non-binding agreement. This letter of intent basically you're seeing it more on the residential side versus a purchase side. So did I say residential? Oh, sorry, on the lease side versus the purchase side. The leasing side, I will kind of throw into example. I had a bakery that I did that I will also kind of go into at the end. In our letter of intent, we're negotiating things. When they wanted $25 for the base price, I offered $22 for the base price. So that is kind of where your negotiating is before you guys go into a lease. And then once you guys agree to something, let's say the landlord was like, hey, listen, no, I really want 32 or sorry, $34 versus the $25, and you're offering $22, they're gonna have this stage called redlining. And what that redlining is saying is basically the landlord and the tenant is gonna go through and ask, hey, I want this and I want that, but we have to come to a common agreement, and that's what the LOI is basically for. So once they redline through, we're gonna receive it back, and I'm gonna go to my client and say, hey, listen, they're agreeing to this, this, and this. But what do you want to come kick back on something? Sometimes landlords will read it and they'll say, hey, listen, I don't have any questions. This is the perfect LOI, and we're gonna go straight to drafting up a lease for you. Is there a question?
$34 per square foot.
Huh?
So a question of $34 per square foot plus more?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So yeah, you can have $34 a square foot. You can have 40, I've seen them up to like $75 a square foot on some projects. It depends on the location. But that's also gonna get into like the triple net, the CAM, and the OpEx. Those are basically additional fees that landlords will charge for clients. So you have the base rent, which is the $22, $25, $35, any dollars that landlord sees fit that his property is worth. So if it's $25 a square foot, if it's 1,000 square foot, it's 25 times 1,000, and you'll get your base pay for that unit. So the triple net lease, you have a CMA, the CMA, which is a common area maintenance, and then the operational expenses, excuse me. Those are different types of leases. So those leases, you have a triple net lease where the tenant pays for the utilities, the rent, and 3 other expenses that includes insurance, maintenance, and taxes for their unit. So those triple net leases, you're gonna find it to be a little bit more higher on the dollar for their the base rent. Now the CAM fees, where you're gonna see it's a little bit less dollars because these tenants are paying a common area maintenance for an office space, a building that has multiple tenants in it that use elevators. They have a common bathroom, like not each unit has their own private bathroom, or maybe they have a cafeteria at the bottom of the building. So those are going to be fees that are paid for that. It can also include, the maintenance of the outside, making sure that your AC is working and things like that. If you're in a triple net lease, you're taking on those responsibilities. But when you're in a CAM lease, you're not taking on those responsibilities. The landlord's going to be helping that. So you'll see them like $30.75 on top of the $25 for the base, or you can see them as much as $7.85. They're going to be always off numbers. So they'll never be like just a base $25. It's going to be something and something change. Okay. Operational expenses. That is a expense. We call it an OpEx. You're going to see more in an industrious use. So you're not going to see it for a plaza or a strip mall, or even in like some type of medical space. You're going to see it more for warehouses, flex spaces, spaces that are anything that's industrious. You're going to see a lot of high volume. These are going to be more towards owner users as well, because these are running expenses, continuous maintenance on commercial properties for them. Any questions?
the additional fees that they might be charging,
Mhm.
will that be broken down already into what the square foot is?
So
Have you
when,
experienced that, or is it something additional? And
It's
they'll
an
tell you
addition.
this is what it's gonna break down to.
oh yeah, sorry, so his question was, would I ever see it in a, like, would it already be included? It's always gonna be separate, so when you're looking up a listing, it's gonna say 1,200 square foot, $15 a square foot, and it says triple net or CAM. So what it'll say, that's kind of like luring you in to call the agent, because you can't give your client what that is, like how much it's gonna be for their monthly, you can't even give them an estimate because you don't know what that CAM fee is. Now, each unit is gonna be different. I'm gonna move this way, just so I can also talk to you. It's gonna be different. So let's say you have a unit, you wanna rent it out for 1,000 square foot, but I come in like, hey, how much is it gonna be for the CAM or the triple net fee? You're like, oh, I don't know, but you have to know these things because as the landlord, you have expenses that you're trying to put onto your tenants, which is like your insurance, the power to light up the parking lot at night and things like that. So you're basically taking those costs every month, breaking them down and splitting them between all your agents or your,
Pay for it.
so they can help pay for those costs. Cause you're paying for a lot of other things, but if you can alleviate some of those costs, I think it would be best as well for, excuse me, landlords. Another question? Nope. Okay. Okay, so phase 1 and phase 2 environmentals. These are very important, especially when you're dabbling in a land deal or something that has to do with a gas station, restaurant style things like that. These are important in the sense that commercial is a very big umbrella, so you can do multiple different avenues of work. It's, leasing, purchasing land. You could do multi-developments like multifamily, hospitality, different things, but phase 1 and phase 2 are quite important. They are when purchasing the land, this could be plenty of different elements that we're looking for that are hazardous. Is it, this says it? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't finish the slide. My bad, guys. But there's a lot of things that could be hazardous. Just a couple years ago, I think it was in Apopka, there was some land that they were getting ready to build on to build some multifamily developments. And then once they started digging in after their first phase 1, they realized that there was some type of oils in the sand when they did the studies, that they had to go do a second phase. So the first phase costs you about anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000, where you get into the second phase is going to cost you more around that $20,000 to $25,000, because now you're going to have to dig things up. They end up finding a bunch of old tires that they never knew someone, threw out there. They had basically just put a bunch of dirt on top of these tires, and now the owner that purchased it or was getting ready to purchase it, they backed out of the deal because they have to do all that and then get the sand back in there and make sure that everything was perfect for them. Environmentals are not just about like testing samples for the oil. You're looking for types of different trees. Oak trees are specific to Florida. They cannot be taken down. You have to literally pick them up and relocate them somewhere else if you want to build anything on that land. You've got between the month of February and April, there's these things called sphinx. They are a type of lizard that they only come up between those 2 months, and they reproduce. So that's the only time you're able to find out if those are actually laying in your land, because after that, they go right back into the sand and you cannot see them until February of the year next. I mean, we're talking about gopher, tortoise, sphinx, there's soil, there can be multiple different types of hazards when you're doing that. So you want to make sure that when you're looking for the land for your clients or whatever it may be, even if it's a gas station, you want to see how old those tanks have been down there. And if they're still being used, or if they're not being used, how long has the stuff that's been inside of them been in there? And that's all going to come out with a phase 1 and a phase 2 environmental study.
These are like red flags.
Yeah, they are red flags, 100%, because that's where the due diligence period comes, right? So like if you negotiate just a 30-day due diligence, these people are going to know that you're a joke, because they know this due diligence period is going to take 6 to 9 months. You might even have to get it extended because we're also at the leisure of, there's not that many people that are doing these phase 1, phase 2 environmental. So those people are working on other people's projects. So you have to make sure you're getting yourself in there as well. Is there any questions? No.
There's one.
So shovel ready, dang. Shovel ready is basically when the land is like prepped and ready to go. I do have a client right now that is so concerned with every property being shovel ready because he is purchasing his land. I'm actually gonna go this way. He's buying his land finance, so it has to be perfect. It has to appraise. It has to be prepared. Like we close on Monday, Tuesday, he can take and start excavating if he'd like to. So that's what shovel ready is. When you hear the term shovel ready, it means like the property is ready to go. You don't have to change any zoning. You don't have to work on anything else. You can literally take a shovel and start digging the next day as soon as you close. That means anything that has already been done, you should have already been prepped it. There are some properties that will be shovel ready. They come with blueprints, site plans, and they are ready to go for the next day as soon as you guys close. So that's what shovel ready means. If someone says, hey, this is shovel ready, but don't have site plans and they don't have an approval from the city, it is not shovel ready. It is part ready. Okay? You know the difference?
Seems like you need to have things in place for it, not just use this from
Yeah, well, I think the biggest concept is that a lot of people are like, hey, this is a shovel ready prop, but they don't have half the things that a client is requiring, where it's blueprints, what the inside of the building's gonna look like, how big of the units are gonna be. And that's kind of what I do is I'm a little bit more into the land side. We build condos and townhomes. So when I'm looking for properties, they have to be majority of the time shovel ready for him to order to go ahead and move forward with even being under contract, which I'm gonna get into right now. Why is it, this is supposed to be a picture of, sorry, something being dug up from the ground. I don't know why. This is like the second picture I tried to put up there.
See that or two.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what can we build on this land? So first thing we want to do is when someone sends you, hey, this is what I want to do, we need to understand, right? So when you're looking up multifamily developments, you're not going to find somebody with an R1 zoning. R1 is just one unit for that parcel of land. You can't build more than that. R2, R3, now we're getting into the multifamily development. We can build condos or townhouses. When you are looking for the zoning, it is very important to call the city or the county that that land is in and talk more to them about the zoning. These zonings are likely to change at any time. They're constantly looking at the influx of people that are coming into the cities or that county. For example, the one that we're working in is in Volusia County. A lot of them are in Volusia County. They're starting to change the way they're having us zone the land. So instead of it being a R3, they moved it to a PUD, planned development. So you always want to ask them what the future use is. It might benefit you, it might not benefit your clients. So there could be risk involved, like it is taking risk in residential. And then that's another thing too. If it's a residential property, you want to see how many units you can build per acre. I will get to that in a later slide because there are some big things happening to the Orlando area that are actually allowing landowners to change the number of units that are going to be on their acreage. So this is the townhome development that I'm currently working on, hopefully going to be under contract next week with it. I've been working this deal since November. Okay, it is a very tedious and very long job to do sometimes, and this is probably the longest project I have worked on. I've closed them between 6 days, and this is going to be the longest one. This originally was actually 64 units, and now it's changed to 50 units because the county, after doing all these meetings with them, they wanted it to be a specific way. Then we were worried about what the people next door were worried about, and having to make sure that it was shovel ready because there was a lot other things that were going on. He might have had all these plans, but it is not shovel ready it's like 98% shovel ready. The only thing that we're not, we're waiting for still, and that's why we're not under contract, is the permitting from the St. Johns River to make sure that we are not going to be causing any damages to the river because of irrigation with our project planning. We also didn't have a lot of plumbing in this project. It's taking us a lot longer to see where we're gonna put a lift station. It also went to a point where the council wanted them to have it more of a private, so changing it from an R3 to a PUD was what they wanted it. And now if you can see right here, this is actually not even an exit or an entrance, it's only an emergency for emergency use only. So now they have us where it was just an open community, making it a private residency with a gate. And then we had to also take into account that we have 20% taken out for the roadways and 20% taken out for greenery. So that's why we have this pond right here that's pretty big, because we were actually gonna originally put like a pickleball state thing right here, because this is in Volusia County, it's in DeLand. A lot of older people in that area, but it's also right around the corner from Stetson University. So this is actually a great project for my clients, just because we're looking at the workforce program, like to help people with first responders there, and then also student housing. And then this is what the project's gonna look like once it's done. Hopefully, we'll see. But you see how this is what a full plan is, like shovel ready. I have the plans. This is what it's supposed to look like. These are the intents for what this project is gonna look. Oh man, these pictures didn't pop up either. I didn't know. Dang.
The
What-
other one's picture, right?
The other one, no, it was, well, yeah, it was a picture, but I wasn't able to, I know what I did wrong. Well, can I get out of this real quick and show them?
Escape on your keyboard.
I don't know what button that is. Oh, found it. There we go. So this is, let's see, boom. Well, anyways, this is a Mikado's Bakery. This actually, this unit used to be a gym. It took us we found the property in April. We didn't actually have a signed lease until September. We went through negotiations one after another, and that's why I say your letter of intent, your LOI needs to be very clear. And it needs to be very, very punctual, because this landlord swore up and down to me that there was two units set for this, two AC units set for this specific unit. He even showed me drone pictures, which I had already had someone go out with a drone to show me that there was AC on the top. But come to find out that those AC units were actually for the O'Reilly. So I had negotiated in my LOI that they were to deliver us two new ACs regardless. But he, told me, he's like, hey, just trust me. I know my property better than anybody. I already have two AC units on there. After that, they ended up having to get them new AC units because those AC units were for a different unit. This landlord also wasn't willing to give out a lot of tenant improvement dollars. So instead of us getting like $30,000 up front to do any type of remodeling for them, we actually ended up negotiating more free rent. So that's kind of something that you want to make sure that you're getting into leases. You have to make sure that your LOI is very punctual, because with that being said, you could run the risk where your client would have to put their own new AC units, and that's a lot of money, especially when they're gutting out an old gym to put in a restaurant. They have to think about the grease traps and the kitchen equipment that they already need for that.
Question.
Yeah.
Are LOIs used only for lease?
You can use an LOI for a purchase. I've never used an LOI for a purchase. They've gone straight to contract, because I feel like once you have the agreements done already, you would just go right into it. But yes, I have seen them done for a purchase. I've personally never done it for a purchase. They've only been solely for leases. My clients that I work with for land, they have an attorney draft up our contracts. So I luckily don't have to do that, especially when you're getting into high dollar amounts. You don't want to be the one you know, taking on the responsibility of someone losing, you know, $1.5 million. You'd rather it be on the attorney versus yourself. But yes, you can use an LOI for land or for a restaurant style for purchase or for selling. Yeah, for sure. But like I said, when you're selling and you're purchasing, you do want to have, especially high dollars, you want to have an attorney involved, no matter what. Because you don't want to be responsible for that. There could be a lot of underlining things that are not being presented to you that you're not seeing. That's why you have to be very diligent. Do your history, your homework on them, see the history of the property, who's purchased it, who's sold it. And just ask the community around them because they know a lot that's going on with that property. How do I make it bigger? You know, honestly, this is fine. Oh, thank you. You know, there you go, full screen. Boom. Okay, so staying informed with your community. So what is Vision 2050? So this is actually something that I found actually kind of beneficial for my clients. This is a new program that the City Beautiful is trying to be a little bit more vigilant about. They have a lot of they've noticed a lot of growth in the Orange County area, which I know traffic has been a headache. So they're actually changing some of the regions and what their zonings are. So I had a client purchase a land that was 20 units per acre. With this new program, it's now moved up to a 40 units per acre. So instead of him building just 19, or it was a little bit shy of an acre, so he could build about 18 units if he did condos with the program. But now he's actually able to go up probably about 4 or 5 levels up for condos in order to do this. So the city is definitely is noticing the influx of people coming in, and they're trying to change a lot of the land zoning for our state to help bring in more people, because sometimes we're not even just limited to spreading out, we're also limited about going up vertically. So this is kind of a new program. It hasn't been gone into effect yet, but they are talking about it in the works. I'm gonna put it into our group chat too, because it's actually something I think everyone should be reading about. But this is our new program that the City Beautiful is trying to enforce. By 2050, we should see a lot of this differentiates going into our city. So these are some of the sources that we use here for LoopNet and Crexy. These are going to be like our listing stuff. You can go on the MLS. I've noticed a lot of people putting like commercial leases and commercial sales on there. It's not very common that you'll find someone from Foundry or, you know, Acres Commercial going to be putting this on their JLL commercial. They're not going to be putting it on there. You're going to find them on LoopNet or Crexy. So LoopNet is a more paid version. They have a free version of it, but they have one that's called CoStar on there. It is very expensive. And actually, I want to see if he's jumping on here. Give me a second. It is quite expensive, but Crexy is a little bit more freer, and they do have a new program. So hopefully Brett's going to be able to get on today and kind of explain that to us, because Robert Palmer has done some negotiation with them. Instead of us paying a different price, we would be paying a different fee for them. That's actually starting on Monday. No, today is Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday, the 31st, Thursday, the 1st of August. Facebook groups, and you want to go to your sphere. This is how I found a lot of my deals. They don't have like what was that one system called that we used to have over at that office down here? When you would pay for your leads, like we don't have a leads payment source. So a lot of these deals that you're going to be getting is going to be based off of your sphere. Facebook groups, I'm on a couple of them for commercial. A lot of them have questions on there. But I want to see if this guy's going to jump on here. How do I, 1 second.
He can't hear you.
I know. Hey, sorry, I have somebody that's supposed to be joining on. I'm just trying to see when they can jump on to explain the Cruxy thing for everybody. But for some reason, I don't know. He got the link, right? Hmm.
For you soccer fans, Manchester United, Barcelona today in Orlando.
But today. Well, guys, I don't know if he's gonna be joining, but he was supposed to join. We can give him a couple more minutes, but I don't think so. Are there any questions? Renee, you have any questions?
How's the commercial market right now?
Well, it's okay. I've been focusing more on land transactions. So,
Mhm.
it's a little bit different than than having like commercial leases, but the only thing I've noticed a big difference is that a lot of people are trying to do their deals with getting SBA loans and stuff like that, but they really need a lot more money. And the thing is that they cannot get those funds because they're not having the right business plans set up. So people are not willing to pay $2,500 for a business plan to get started. But the industrious area of it, what are the different types? The industrious area is actually a lot busier, but you can't, a lot of people want like 1,000 to 1,500 square foot warehouse spaces, and that's not being offered right now. It's really hard to find something that's small. And if you
Uh-huh.
do, you want to jump on it as quick as possible, not even negotiate anything, because it's very hard for somebody to get into an industrious space, especially a warehouse space. With commercial real estate, there's plenty. I mean, like I said, you have hospitality, you have industrious, you have leasing, you have purchasing, you have selling. You can do office space, medical office space. You can do, the hospitality. I guess I can fall down as restaurants as well. I have not dabbled in business brokeraging. I did not take a license on that, but I know some people have, but I'm not into that. So I only solely focus on mostly land transactions now because I found that to be more my niche.
Okay.
Are there categories by the industries? What do you mean by that? Categories by the industries? Well, yes and no, I guess. I'm kind of confused on that because I mean, yeah, because within the category of office space, I mean, you can do regular office space, you can do medical office space, restaurants and the hospital. Yeah, so hospitals, you have hotel, motel. It definitely does. So like a lot of those hotels and motels, your client's not gonna go build a new one. They're gonna find someone that's something that's already used and someone's already been operable. A lot of those are gonna be off-market deals because they don't want their tenants knowing that they're selling. How come I can't see this? Huh?
I can put time.
Yeah, if you can.
You turn it on.
Turn it down. Yeah, guys. So she's trying to connect with the guy on Craigslist. What I wanted to talk about was, even if you're a new agent, guys, something to expect when you're getting started in real estate, whether commercial or just residential. Commercial doesn't have to be, just like we talk about in luxury. It doesn't have to be this thing that's, unattainable just because you're a new agent, or something that you need to let intimidate you. Commercial real estate can be as simple as, if it's something that you're interested in and you want to get started in it, it can be as simple as just going down, if you're local to the area, just go down 50, right? And you go into one business and you just simply ask them, how is business, right? We talk about being curious, and curiosity, or curious people make more money. When you're going down and you walk into that business and you say, hey, how's business going? If they say good, well, then, hey, great. That's an opportunity to create a conversation for, let's get you out of this place. Let's get you into a bigger place then. If it's going good, maybe you need more space. If they say bad, well, hey, let's get you into a smaller space. Let's go ahead and take some. Yeah, or let's go ahead and help you duplicate like Mikado's. I remember them starting over on Lake Underhill, shoot, 10, 12 years ago, and to see that and have Amaal be a part of it was pretty awesome. Full circle moment. So even as a new agent, you don't have to worry about not knowing everything, right? This class, we're gonna upload this to our YouTube page and get it out to you guys, but you can come back and reference that. And that's why she started with some of the lingo and some of the conversation piece. I will tell you, for a long time, they said, you don't have to know everything to get started, and don't be afraid to go into luxury or commercial. And there is some, there are good terms to know. Her talking about the due diligence period, not knowing what that is pretty at the minimum, you gotta know these type of terms. So look, it's good to know the basics, and it's okay to go out there and start, asking questions, but it doesn't, don't complicate it. It's just about being curious and just asking simple questions. And so if you're getting started in commercial, it is about connecting to those groups. It's about showing up to, you got the Greater Orlando Builders Association, GOBA. You can find them. If you go on Meetup, if you go on a lot, I talked about it last week in some of the different places that you can go and network and stuff like that. You can find a lot of these outlets where you can go and create these conversations and start to get involved in these different specialties that you may want to get started in. And so connecting with people, just being curious, start asking questions, getting out there, and that's, I watched Amaal get into commercial. I've known several agents get into it. Sometimes our niche just will just find you. And so if it's something that you're interested in, there's a great place to start. Another great place to start is by getting a client. And so you can do that as simply as just going out and, like I say, going into a business and helping them. That's what we got to do, is we got to go out there, problem solve, and figure out problems and find some solutions. So I saw another question come in from Tay. Are condo buildings considered a commercial? If so, what does it fall under?
Yes, so they are considered commercial. Condos, if you're building them, is considered development. Now, if they're already put in place condos and you're wholesaling the entire building, that is multifamily. So if it's already constructed building, that's gonna fall under multifamily. If it's something that you guys are going to construct, it's gonna be under development. And that's another thing too, is I wanted to show you guys, is just also because this takes a long time, and I want to show you guys how far this has gone. I mean, this land I'm doing in the land, it's gone to the point where this is why it takes 8 to 9 months or 10 months to do this stuff, because we're not only just, hey, here's some land, buy it. There's a lot of different things that you have to go into. We're planning on, hey, this is what it's going to look like on the floor. This is what it's going to look like on the bottom, and different things like this. And that's why these deals take a lot longer. I mean, we're talking about site plans. We had types of different, these things change so many times that we had to. Oh, you can't?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, shoot, my bad. Sorry, guys. It says sharing.
Hit it.
Here, this one? There we go.
Share blue bottom.
Thank you. I'm not tech savvy over there. I'm a bad guys.
Question 2, building development, pre-existing multifamily, correct?
Let me see it. Let me read it. Did it? Wait again. Existing.
I think she was commenting on what you're talking about when condo building is considered commercial. She stated building dash development, pre-existing multifamily, correct? Are those different types of buildings, I guess?
Well, if it's already constructed and it's anywhere between like condos and townhomes, you're gonna go multifamily. If we're talking about single family developments, those are just single family developments. And you're,
Comes after 4.
huh?
That's what I'm trying to say, after 4, that's when it becomes commercial.
Yeah, 4 or more, well, 5 or more, sorry. 5 or more is commercial. It's gonna be multifamily development. A lot of these people like Taylor Morrison, Lennar Homes, DR Hortons, like they have a whole entire team on the inside that are just constantly looking for land and things like that. I would never pitch them my land, ever. I mean, if 750 acres of land, I would never pitch to them. They're gonna try to lowball, and they're gonna try to renegotiate a lot of things versus someone that's a little bit more in-house. But what I was explaining, sorry, I thought you guys could see my screen. This is why these deals take a long time. You have unit A, unit B. Someone has to sit here, and we have to collectively make these layouts for the client, because this is a more ready property. This is, hey, we're gonna start building this. This is the way it looks, but it didn't always look like this. These plans have changed multiple times, and that's why it is very important that when you're doing these deals, that you're making sure that you're doing your due diligence, so you're not missing your client's money, because this could have been anything. I think this might have been one of our older sheets. I'm sorry, hold on. But it is very important for you to make sure that you are getting into the right place, because you could just miss out on a lot of money. I mean, you have to go with the rent, what the everything. You're not just like, it's like almost doing it for like a single family home, but you're checking out on for for 50 units basically. And the thing with DeLand is that a lot, I think the last home that was like all the way like a 5 mile radius, what they sold for, it's not easy, especially when you get into those more rural projects. What she said, are there categories in the industry? Yeah, building development, pre-existing multifamily, correct? Yep. But I don't know. I've emailed this gentleman and it doesn't seem like he was gonna be jumping on. We have 15 minutes, so if you wanna help me out, Andrew, you're more than welcome to, but
I always got a fun one I like to talk about that Amaal helped me with. And it's probably because I was involved with the transaction. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but it's pretty hard to not convince me otherwise that I have the opposite of the Midas touch. But our boy Chef Prasad, man, that was a great story. I think everybody should know if you're thinking about getting started, or if you are starting a commercial, understanding some of the complexities that come with it. The good news about getting started in the Orlando market and commercial is everybody wants to be here. I don't know if you look around, we have White Castle now, we have with the Jolly Bee over by UCF. I mean, just about every industry I can think of. Wawa came to town. I know there's a lot of food ones. But it's a hot market and people want to be here. The problem with that is it's a hot market and everybody wants to be here. And so I had a lead come in from one of my best friends, but he also was a buyer, and his uncle was coming down from New York City area and wanted a restaurant. And really great, really promising, really good lead, and you know, I didn't have to worry about them not working with us commercial, because I don't know commercial. You do, there's a lot of liability involved in it because it's not as regulated as the residential traditional realtor, because of NAR, National Association Realtor keeps it so regulated and keeps it a little bit more in check. And that's kind of some of the changes we're about to see with this buyer broker agreement. But the commercial space, it is a little bit more of the Wild West. And so that can be a challenge, and making sure the client's truly going to work with you. And a lot of that, all that comes down to contracts and how good you are at convincing them to sign, and Jedi mind trick and all that. But so it's a good client. I had, you know, he was going to work with us. I brought him Mel on. Mel did a tremendous job getting it going, but we couldn't find anything. And no matter what we did, and I'll tell you some of the questions he asked me, and before we brought Mel on, even once she was involved with it, you know, he came to me and he wanted to have an Indian restaurant and was asking good places and all that. So, you know, that's pretty standard question. So you got to have a good lay of the land. I was trying to push him towards the Dr. Phillips area, because Dr. Phillips, I think, would be because he went a little bit higher in the client. He was giving us the, you know, what his demographics were he wanted, which isn't traditional. You know, a lot of times they don't give you a specific demographics. That's up to you to find out. But thankfully, he was pretty specific. And so I thought Dr. Phillips, because also too, you have a lot of tourists right there on I Drive, and English, enjoy Indian food, and so I thought we had a good, you know, good idea there, and it didn't really play out. We did a lot of showings. At one point, Amel pretty much took it over for me, because once I thought that, you know, my opposite of the Midas touch was was taking effect, I want to get away from it, and it's what she does, and so that's what we wanted to happen. But she ended up getting over in what, Winter Park?
Yeah, Winter Park.
Tell me a little bit about those negotiations.
yeah, then oh my God, that deal bothers me so much, because I never got to close it, because you know the landlord was also another Indian owner, and he knew what my client was trying to do, and my client wanted, or sorry, Andrew's and I's client wanted to do a lot more that I thought was going to bring a lot of value add to his plaza, because at the time all he had was a Jimmy John's and one vacant, and then the other one was like this health bar juice thing where they didn't have any type of grease traps, no AC ventilation, it wasn't proper. So he was about to gut the entire thing out and then put a nice Indian restaurant in, and really the deal fell apart over some lighting in the parking lot. But there wasn't another restaurant that he wanted to be in. He really wanted to be in that specific spot. So it never ended up playing out, but I can't tell you how many times people have sent me clients and I want to open up a coffee shop, and I kind of set the realistic expectations like, hey, you have 30,000 US dollars to start this, and that's actually not enough. Even the Mikado's people, they had $180,000 in their bank, and he even felt like putting in all the things that he had to put in, still he could have used an extra $20,000. So a lot of these landlords are going to either help you with the construction on the inside, or they're not going to help you. That's called TI dollars, tenant improvement dollars. And the way they give you that is just by giving you the money. They don't give you the money up front. You spend the money up front, and then they give it to you on the back end. So after you've been open for 30 days, sometimes people give it to you in installments after every quarter. It just really depends on what the landlord wants. But there are deals that I've watched go so well and then not end up well enough. But like Andrew was saying earlier, you just got to start doing it. And it's okay to tell another agent, ask them, hey, do we need a certificate? No, you don't need anything to be a commercial agent. You just need to get out there and do it. Like straight up. That's the way I did it. I just kept calling, and I was actually pretty vulnerable. Like there's no problem with being vulnerable. I think a lot of us get intimidated by just not wanting to do it. We don't know. I didn't know. And trust me, the only way I kind of learned how to do these things was just by sitting in the office. I used to come in. This was like right after COVID was all crazy and stuff like that. I would come into the office and I would just listen to other agents' conversations and start using those and using their verbiage. And then I would just start calling around commercial agents, and I would tell them, hey, I'm new to this. I don't know what I'm doing. And then they would kind of help guide me. I do believe even Dustin, you and I was trying to help you find somebody for your axe throwing in Winter Garden. I don't even know if you continued that, but not every deal you're going to get is going to perspire out of something. But I will tell you some tidbit that one of the other agents that I met up at a multifamily development group, he told me about, you're going to have to figure out what two like areas you want to specify in, like whether that's leasing, whether that's purchasing. You need to figure out which one you want to do, land, or do you want to do multifamily. And at first I kind of was like, oh, he's just telling me that just to say it because whatever. But he is true. Like you need to kind of become a master of one of these or two of these versus a master of all of them, because you're not going to be able to do all of them. So that's why I kind of started focusing more on the land transactions. And then once those units are built, I wholesale them. But you just need to get out there and go do it, because you can take a bunch of classes for it, but the more you get out there, the more you start talking to these agents. It's a very small niche group. So everyone knows everybody, and it's okay for you to be vulnerable to them and just say, hey, listen, I'm starting off. I'm just trying to learn and get my feet wet. And they'll help you. They'll guide you through it. They'll tell you, hey, you did this, you didn't do this. And they're pretty open, but just don't get on a commercial agent's bad side, because like I said, it is a very small niche of people and the word spreads fast.
What's any one of those terms? How many terms did you have there in the beginning?
I think I had like about 5 or 6, maybe like actually 8.
Is there any probably like 3, 4, 5 things people should know if questions to ask a client that starts asking them about commercial, like how much they want to spend, size? I mean, what's the 5 core questions you should have?
So the 5 core questions I would definitely ask is, what is your intentions for this? Do you have you already had another place of business? A lot of these people that I've come across are startups, and a lot of landlords are in fear of startups, especially after COVID, because they were having a lot of vacant space and they weren't having anybody to continue to pay for their lease, and now they're coming out of pocket. So it's like, what was your prior history? Are you a startup? Prior history. Have they ever owned this business before, or is this something new? I would ask them if they have a business plan. And then you need to see the proof of funds. They can say, oh, well, my mama's friend Sebastian got 50K in the bank. Okay, well, you need the 50K in the bank. It needs to be seasoned money, the same thing as residential. Like the money needs to be seasoned. It can't just be in there. It has to look like it's coming in and out. But the biggest thing is funds. A lot of people are expecting to get loans, but those SBA loans are not easy to get. It can take a while to get, and you need to have a very, very good business plan. When I'm talking about business plan, I'm not like, hey, just send me like a PowerPoint of what you're talking about. No, this business plan needs to say, hey, let's hypothetically talk about, you want to open up Hawaiian shaved ice cream, like little bar. You need to see, this business plan should have all the Hawaiian shaved ice cream stands that are in that jurisdiction, how many, what's their profit looking like. I mean, I have someone that does business plans for my clients. I don't get into it, but it's very tedious. It's like, how many of those same locations are in this area? You know, how many people are in this area? What's their age, their demographic, their income, things like that, because those are going to be important when you're taking it to the bank. They're saying, hey, why do you think I should give you $500,000, you know, $500,000 to open up an ice cream shop? Make it make sense. So a lot of the clients are, I feel bad because they think that I'm trying to shoot down their dreams, but they don't have enough money. So basically getting the proof of funds is the most important. A lot of people I've seen come back and they've actually, hey, listen, I've raised this much money, and we have been able to find something, but the prices of things have gone up a lot, I can tell. But it's definitely, it's a little bit harder, because I think Renee asked me earlier today too, was like, how's the market looking? It's looking as good as it could be. It's just weeding out the people that can and cannot do, I think, at this point.
Are there any,
I don't know if you know specifically, I don't think there are,
Hmm.
but if somebody wanted to get started, what rules are there around highlighting or advertising somebody else's property?
I don't think there are rules.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
no,
saying, when I talk about commercial not being as regulated, the reason we can't take somebody else's listing residential and pass it off as ours is because NAR or the MLS will
flag it, right?
yeah, will enforce those type of things. So, you know, I'd like to say a lot of times too, guys, commercial, you gotta be out in the streets. You gotta be in the streets.
Literally.
But no, you know, define what the client wants, like I say, because the search engines aren't as specific as, you know, logging onto the MLS to find residential. You gotta get on the streets. You find somebody that has some criteria that they want. A lot of times just gotta get out there and quote unquote knock doors. But you know, if you find, you know, a property for sale, a lot of times that you'll be driving down the road and you'll see those big signs and they'll advertise this or that. They'll put some of the zoning on there, so you kind of have a good idea. But you know, car washes are a big topic right now, laundromats, those type of things. If you come across, you know, for sale that fits that zoning, and if it doesn't or don't know, it's a simple call to the commercial agent. Like I say, it can be tough sometimes. They're not as the most communicative on the phone. They don't answer a ton of times,
Yeah.
but I've done it, you know, and if I've pissed them off, oh well, so be it. But you know, you find a property and you find out what it can be zoned for, well, then you start advertising that. You help them find somebody that will want to occupy that space. And in the beginning, you're going to be putting that out there a lot. You know, you'll be putting something out there, but I'll tell you, most times I've had traction in my business is when I start doing something and doing it consistently. And so that's going to be the feature, right? If you do find a property, you know, I saw one up in Lake Mary. I think I was driving down the road and I was kind of on the lookout for some commercial properties and it fit the car wash description. And so, you know, it's something that I started to advertise. And once I did it, you know, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row, then people started reaching out to me about other commercial stuff because I was trying to do something specific for that one. And so that's, like I said, the 2 or 3 different ways we talked about getting started. Like number one, just go out there and start knocking doors, but walk into the business, ask how business is, get to know. It all comes back to being a champion of your area and what area you hunt in. But that's one good way. The number way is start featuring other properties you see for sale. Like I said, it's not as regulated. You know, obviously give credit for whose listing it is, but you don't want to share the phone number because you
Yeah, I
want
would
that to be
always just run it by them and be like, hey, is it okay if I market your stuff? Just a courtesy.
yeah.
Because a lot of people, they're not paying attention. And some of those, you're gonna see listings online that are so expired, they
Yeah.
just never took it down.
Yeah.
But the number one rule I did forget, you need to negotiate your commission. It is not negotiated. You can work a whole deal and not get paid a dime on it. You have to negotiate that LOI. Even though it's a non-binding agreement, you are still putting in there like, hey, listen, I'm expecting to get paid 3% or 4%. I mean, I've gotten paid. You can get paid 3%. That's like the common. I think that's just because of residential thing. But I mean, I've gotten paid over the 3% on specific deals. I mean, they were leasing for a shorter amount of time, so that's why I was paid a higher commission on it. Excuse me. But you always have to negotiate your commission. That is so important because I think a lot of people think that they're safe, but you're right. Like it's kind of like a buyer beware in residential, but it's almost like an agent beware in commercial style, because if you are not paying attention to that, you can just work a whole bunch for free.
Renee, did you have a question?
Yeah, typical. What's the commission percentage on a commercial property? And other question is, do you need a county permit to place a certain business in that city or little town?
No, I don't think you need a permit to place a business. Wait, can they
So
still hear
let's
me
say,
like that? Okay, sorry.
yeah,
You don't need a permit to place something, but what you would do is like you can't put a bakery into a plaza that already has a Publix. So like there's gonna be some type of conflict of interest will work. So as long as you're placing a gym somewhere there isn't another gym, then you should be fine. Especially like I said, Publixes are the number one pain in the back. If you are trying to open up a bakery, like even the Mikados, just because they have baked goods, they cannot be in a Publix plaza. They can't be in a plaza with a Starbucks in it because they have coffee. So there's a lot of non-competes that Publix has, or Walmart even has a bakery non-compete as well. So when you're looking into placing these places in there, you have to make sure that you're following their non-competes. And a lot of time the agents are gonna know that. So when you're just calling, hey, listen, I got a bakery, and they're like, nope, sorry. They don't even continue to ask you who it is. They don't care because Publix says no, or Starbucks said no. So it's kind of a challenging thing, especially when you're trying to put a bakery or a gym into a plaza that has a lot of high foot traffic, because we all know that people go to Publix or Walmart. But there's a lot of non-competes out there that they have.
You know, so.
damn. So one
Yeah, what was
question
the last
leads
part
to
about commission?
another.
Because I didn't hear it.
Yeah, that's it. What's the typical percentage?
So typical percentages are, I mean, 3% is like the norm, right? I've seen them go up as high as 5%. I have not been lucky enough to have that, but I think the highest commission I have had, it was a 4%, but that's because the gentleman was supposed to do a 5-year term and end up doing just a 2.5-year term. So my client was like, hey, listen, instead of you losing out on the money, because that's how residential, or sorry, commercial leasing works, is that you're getting paid off of the base of the rent for the number of years they're working. So if they do a 5-year term or they do a 10-year term, you're getting paid off of 5 or 10 years. So Andrew, you mentioned networking week. Sorry. So you're gonna get based off of the number of years your tenant is leasing and that base price. So if it's $25 a square foot and it's 1,000 square feet, then you're gonna times that by the 5 years, because there's gonna be an escalation every year at 3% for it's gonna go up in 3% for, state taxes, any type of other additional fees that the landlord can get. So the price is not gonna always be, but there will be a 3% increase every year. And you get paid off of that. So it could be 3%, you can get 5%. I mean, the Mikados people, I mean, it was like selling a $500,000 home. That's how my commission played out.
So you get that at once, or can you negotiate of getting paid yearly as well? Let's say 5 years.
Say that again?
Yeah. So you get that all at once?
Yes.
Once you're closed? Okay.
Yeah, you get that all at once. You can, so for the Mikado's deal, typically with restaurant deals, you get paid half at signing and then half at opening. They were gonna take 9 months or 8 months to do their work. So I closed in September, but I wasn't supposed to really get paid until like April or May for the ending. Luckily, I made a good relationship with that agent, and I actually got paid all at once. I got half of it in September and then half of it in October, versus having to wait till April or May for the other half of my money. But you can, like a lot of restaurant deals, you will get paid half of it upfront and then half at the end, because they're worried that maybe the tenant might not fully execute, like something crazy happened, like COVID happened again. I mean, I've known a lot of people that opened up right before COVID or started construction right before COVID, and then they had this unit just vacantly open for a whole 12 months. And that's why, like, even that one for Prasad, that's what happened with him, is like he was so good during COVID, and then COVID happened and it wiped him out. But you get some of them deals, you get paid half and half. Some of them you get paid all at once. As soon as they sign that lease, you'll get paid. Especially for like office space, like I did a endocrinology office. I got paid pretty quickly on that one. Medicals, you get paid fairly quickly. Now, if you're doing a medical deal with someone like Advent Health or RMC, you're gonna wait for your money a little bit longer. But if it's someone that is a in-house, like just a regular doctor, you'll be able to get something that's trying to open up their own practice, it'll be a lot quicker. Cause the landlord is the one paying you, kind of like how the seller would pay the residential agent, buyer's agent, which I guess now it's gonna be changing, huh? That does not apply to commercial. Is that guy?
Very interesting.
Did that guy-
He did not. So yeah, guys, I see. So how do you calculate the commission? I'm gonna bring up a calculator, Mel, if you can talk this through. Don't mind my cross that line. Where did my calculator go?
Wait, hold on.
Calculator.
Can I still shorten yours without, oops. You're still, oh,
My
wait.
screen showing.
Okay, hold on. Cause I have something. How do I get it to your phone, your screen to show? I can't.
Mine's showing.
Oh, okay. Do your thing.
All right, so to the question, so let's just take a 5,000 square foot building.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the price is
We'll do
what's an average?
$15.
$50 a square foot.
We can do $50 a square foot.
All right,
So
times
you're gonna time that.
5,000.
Now we're gonna divide that by, let's do 5-year lease. So what's
250 divided by
250 divided by the 52. So you're gonna get,
5
hold
years
on.
lease is 60,
is 60 months?
12, 24, 36, 48.
Yeah, so wait. I gotta do this again. Math is not my strong suit. Times the 50 divided by, what do we say, how many months was it again?
5 or how many months? How many years?
Yes,
5 years, 60 months.
60 months. So yeah, you're about 4,100, but that's what I'm trying to say. I have a.
So quick math on that, just so you guys understand, right? So you're taking the price per square foot.
This is how I do it, because
All right,
it
go back.
calculates everything for me.
Hold on one second, Marla, let me put it back on her screen so you guys can see this. Go ahead, share.
There we go. Okay, so I have one of these beautiful calculators that a partner of mine made for me. It also, this was actually when we were at EXP, but whatever. So this is what I would put in this is the 10-year plan. So this is actually what happened with for Mikado's. This is the square footage. This is the base rent. This was the OpEx, the triple net or the CAM fee, and then the sales rate, right? So this shows my client basically from 1 to 10 months, the base, the taxes, monthly operating expenses, your monthly total, like the total cost, and then what the annual expense would be for the 12 months that they would be there for this first year, the 12 months for the second year. And it gives you the security deposit, the first and their total deposit. And then right here, once you do everything, it gives you the money. Now, I did not get $500,000. I made about $20,000 on this deal, but that's because these numbers are off. But I typically, man, that's weird. But yes, you can, Andrew's gonna show you how we just did the math. But I do have one of these. I just have to update the math on it because for some reason I know the commission is not right, but I do know this part is right up here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I will say it for her, not that she's afraid to say it, guys. A lot of times what ends up happening too is you go out, we tell you to be dangerous, we tell you to go stir up. So commercial stuff, you get a client, he comes up and you say, I want to work this with you. Understand how much goes into this stuff. And if you try to do like a 50-50, there's a lot of work for you to do. And so typically when you first start out, say if you do want to come work with Amaal or she's able to, first of all, because we're all pretty busy, but keep in mind, there is a lot of work involved. And so if she tells you it's going to be 70-30 or something like that, where the split's much more in her favor, understand there's a lot of stuff to learn and each deal is very, very intricate. And it's not as simple as her just showing you or just being there part of it like a residential and it's easier to pay out. So just understand that typically, I mean, once you go out there and stir stuff up, we will be there to help you, but there's a massive learning curve to get started. And so be prepared to make sure that there's a fair split and that you understand why there's a split in that manner. So we do want you to go out there. Mel is available for quick questions and answers, but start getting into the intricacies and to start getting into into an actual deal. Typically in commercial, you're starting out on a 70-30 referral split. They're taking the 70, you're taking the 30, and there's not a lot of learning time. And as you go through a few more, if you really commit to that, then you start getting different splits, and there's a lot of different resources. So, just be, like I said, I don't want you guys to get caught off guard. We tried it, after 7 years being in this industry, after 5 or 6 years being a mentor, and from our previous office, how many people try to get started in this and would just come and just expect these commercial agents just to teach them everything. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, they're not being greedy. There is a lot to this, and so it's a lot of education. If you really want to learn, then that's why the splits are a little bit different. But she's doing some math up there on the screen. So hold on a second.
Yeah, I had to actually like look at it. Can Ty hear me? Cause I know she asked this question. So yes, no, maybe so. I can't share that calculator because I wasn't actually the one that made that calculator. Yes, okay, perfect. So if I have 1,000 square foot unit and the base is $20 a square foot, and the CAM operating at OpEx or the triple net is $2.50. Let me rephrase. That total, once you add the 2250 times the 1,000, I don't know if you guys can see this, but times 1,000, you're gonna get 22,500, right? That's what your pay is gonna be for the whole 12 months. You're gonna divide that by 12. You're gonna get 1,875 for your rent. That includes your CAM fee. So this unit B is 1,000 square foot. Is gonna cost your tenant per month with their OpEx or their triple net or their CAM fee $1,875. So that's what they're gonna be required to pay. So when you're looking for your commission, you're gonna make $20,000, and then you're gonna divide that by the number of months, let's say 24. What's that? Or hold on, so for commission, it's different. 20,000. Or times this, sorry, because you have,
Would that be a 2-year lease?
yeah. 48, but then you're gonna divide this by. You're not making
3%?
3%, thank you. Jeffrey, you're the best. We just literally did this, didn't we? You make about 1,600. Give or take. 1,600, oh, sorry. 1,600. And that's another thing, a lot of people think that commercial real estate, you're making like 27,000 million dollars. You're not sometimes, I mean, I've done deals where I've only made $1,000 sometimes. So I think a lot of people have this misconception that thinking that you're doing commercial, you're gonna be making. Is this guy on yet?
It's actually.
Nope. But you're not making, we don't make
Actually 14,000.
14?
14,400.
14,400, that's what I thought, 14,400, there we go. But I mean, I was just trying to show her, not really the commission, but the square footage and the terms, but. I was supposed to have someone, I think it's a little confusing, but I get it, I'll meet you in person and we'll do this again, I promise. And I will get a little bit better at my classes as well. This is my first class I've ever taught, but I do appreciate you guys for listening to my TED Talk.
Man.
And then I don't know, my guest was supposed to come in at 11. He didn't make it. I don't know. Well, figure it out, but
He's great in commercial real estate, but not so much at scheduling. All right.
yeah. I'll see you guys later. Thank you
All right,
so
guys.
much.
So let's give a round of applause. Thank you, Amaal, and it was a very good class. IG, what's your IG?
Oh, Egyptian_cotton.
Egyptian_cotton.
Yep, Egyptian
Soft
underscore
like
cotton. That's right, baby.
Can you write it in the chat?
Yes, I can.
So yes, guys, this is gonna be on our YouTube page. I'm going to upload this class. But we are putting together August calendar. I don't have next Tuesday. Yeah, we don't have the class, and then typically Dustin does his buyer's contract the first Friday of the month. We are still on summer vacation, so that's why this calendar and schedule has been a little wonky.
Of course.
But August, we're getting back to it. At the end of August, we're gonna have a boot camp again up at the LPT headquarters and online through Zoom. So if you guys have been new to the team and to the brokerage,
Oh, dang.
we
I
got
know
boot
so
camp
many
the last
people with
week
this
of
girl. How'd she get mine? Sorry, can you?
so yeah, boot camp at the end of the month. So that's a 3-day, either in person or online, 8-hour day. It goes through everything you need to know. So it's a great place to get started if you haven't been with the brokerage long, and we have every Tuesday we have class at 10 a.m. except for when we're in boot camp, because boot camp is the Team Help Tuesday. And then Thursday, the second Thursday, we have our new construction visit. So look forward to come out, shoot some content. Sean's been coming out, and we're bringing everybody some videos to post, and he's helping you out with a lot of great content. So we really hope everybody shows up. Like I said, we know it's still summertime, even though we're getting back to school at this point. So we're getting back to it, guys. Be on the lookout for the calendar. If you guys need any more information, please feel free to reach out. We are going to post this to the YouTube page, and we will see you guys next week. And if you do want to come in person, we are here live in the downtown office. For those that haven't been to the downtown office, you can come check it out. We got these 3 main offices that you guys can work in. And we also have a meeting room across the hallway if we need to book that for anything. You can print stuff here as long as the printer's working. It's really cool. So if you haven't been, we are transitioning to go full-time into this downtown office after leaving the Maitland Training Center. So, all right, guys, we'll appreciate you guys sticking on, and we will talk to you next week. We'll see you then.